My name is Jason Spanu, DJ Shine. I'm an Ableton certified trainer. I work for WaveDNA, and I'm a DJ and a composer and all this other stuff. And I tour the world with a bunch of pop stars, being the crazy Ableton guy, which means I hit the space bar and their songs start and they play. So, yeah. Well, I went to a rave like 20 years ago, and I got bit by the music bug, and it never stopped. And growing into DJing turned into music production, became a radio host. That's why I have the radio voice on today. And yeah, lots of just, once you get into it, you just keep bouncing around. And I figured it would be a good idea to learn every possible job to do in this. And it just takes you from place to place. So, yeah. I use Liquid Rhythm in the studio predominantly as an input device for rhythm creation. I guess that's what it's made for. But I try to break it as often as I can and use it in different ways. So the typical way would be making beats with it. But I've been sort of taking rhythmical harmonic information and hacking sort of ways to make that do interesting stuff as well. Really, that's all about the push for me and how it's integrated into the workflow. There's sort of like, let's say, two sides to this fence. So if I'm on stage with an artist like, Pop Star Land or whatever, then it comes into play when we're doing more pre-production stuff. If we have to like build a bridge or something that would tie two songs together, I can do it in like 10 seconds in Liquid Rhythm and tie that together. And if I'm performing, doing the typical DJ Shine live PA or DJing-ish thing, which is all morphing into one congealed electronic thing, I'll typically lock a clip. It's one of the new features in the newer versions, is locking our push device to a specific clip and leave it there. So it's just a happy little drum machine ready to go that I can add and layer on top of whatever DJ/music I'm making / playing, right? So again, ease of use, ease of speed. I can get a result that I'm thinking way quicker out of my head with it than the typical smash, Hulk smash kind of approach, right? So the push integration is the main one. Being able to have the beatform sequencer stretch across that grid of 64 pads on that, very, very much my crack. I can't not use it. It's you take that away, I just don't want to make music anymore. I'll be angry. And ways to hack that into using harmonic notes as well. There's a couple of videos I've done that sort of explain that, but yeah. The kind of advice I'd give to someone building a studio would be keep it simple until you know you can handle all that stuff. I see a lot, I've worked in retail before, and it's very much people coming in and shopping thinking they have to buy the whole kitchen, the sink, and the spice rack before they just figure out how to like make a bacon. Like just get in there, get a computer, get some software that's going to work for you, whatever it is, whatever speaks to you for the genre you're building, and keep it simple. Like, if you're going to use Ableton, obviously a device like Push looks really complex, but it's actually designed to keep things simple. Guys using Logic, just go get a keyboard. Just work with that first, get a decent audio interface, and keep things in line with what you can handle. That's probably the best advice. Well, with those guys, typically what I do for these people, I run the playback tracks for, Frank Ocean, Broken Bells, Nelly Furtado, Drake, all these different people. And depending on what's happening on stage, most people like to minimize the amount of technology that's happening live to a bare minimum. So I'll tend to use Liquid Rhythm in more of a pre-production sense, where we're building the show. We want to figure out how we're going to get from one song to another. I think recently with Frank, I took a sample of the beat from one of his last tracks, threw it into Liquid Rhythm, resequenced it sort of closer to where the pattern of the new track would have been, and they were able to beat mix. The feel was the same, and it was a very, very seamless process. It took like a couple seconds as he was watching, freaking out that this is happening so quickly, versus the normal, Hulk smash, gorilla hands kind of way of just, getting things out. And it's all about speed with these people. They want to see something happen as quickly as possible because time is money and money is money. And, something like this really speeds up the process. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm compensating for not having enough computers as a child when I grew up. I have a lot of computers because I'm a sort of a technological librarian for the various artists I work with. So this may look like I just have issues, but these two are Frank Ocean's computers. I've got a couple over here, which are which Broken Bells computers. In the back, I've got some Nelly Furtado ones. But it's fun because when I'm not doing stuff for them, I get to put them to work to being whatever the hell I want them to be here. So my studio is pretty simple. It looks a little nutty and nerdy, but it's all designed around solving my handicaps as a creative person. In 20 years of making music, I haven't not been able to figure out how to play the piano properly. I can goof my way through it, but so a lot of what you see here is sort of designed to get past that handicap. I mean, I'm using launch pads, but they're not actually running the Launchpad script. I've hacked them into running a thing called the LPC Live hack by Native Control with a K. So basically, I've got two sets of, imagine that as 8 rows, 8 pads, and each one of these pads can play or store a clip or a collection of notes, right? So right now I can load. I'll just do it real quick here. So I've got like a little Rhodes sound here. I can load that sound and remember it as a chord, and then unpack it. And that's kind of fun. Being able to just sort of build a progression and just have it as my chord memorizing area. And then that will play along with Liquid Rhythm, which is usually, I leave on one of my pushes, and that's locked in the Liquid Rhythm script mode. And that will work in tandem with the other push that actually provides sort of a synergistic approach to, if I want to play a certain note and sequence that note, I'll be able to dial it in really quickly, pick the next one, dial those in. So it's not, there's a rhythm and there's a method to the madness. It's not just, oh, buttons, 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 but yeah, it's buttons too. And yeah, everything else is pretty much inside the box. I'm using a lot of soft synths, and the iPads are all out of juice right now. Unfortunately, I can't turn them on and show you them doing their little buttony things, but I use a program called Touchable, which is super cool, and that's like every last parameter you ever wanted to play with. Excuse me, in Ableton, all at your fingertips. And I'm one of the beta testers for the new version, Touchable 3, which is going to be coming soon, which I am really happy for. And Lemur as well. I did some development for the Lemur script that Liquid Rhythm uses as well. So yeah, lots of toys, but it's a really simple approach. It really comes down to the pushes and the touchscreen. And that really comes in really well. Smith & Martin touchscreen, KS1974 touchscreens. I use my Leap Motion a lot as well. If you guys have ever heard these things, these are smoking. Small little gesture-based tracker, so I can. I've got certain commands, like if I put 3 fingers to the right, that's going to make a new track. I've got my zoom command, so if I'm on, if I just want to play with something and all of a sudden zoom right in, and then be able to use my iPad sort of feel on my touchscreen there, I've got that associated. But I'm running a lot of stuff right now. It would explode if I tried to do that and show you all this. So this is kind of the average workflow that I've got going on this week. Changes all the time, but Ableton Live running. I've got Liquid Rhythm in one of the tracks here. And it's on a track that's got the monitor arm turned on. That's so I can take any incoming information from my Lemur and route that to that track, through that track into Liquid Rhythm, right? So I'm just gonna start off. I've got basic clip, nothing going on in it. Drum rack. I like to leave my right push in sort of like regular push mode and my left one being in user mode for Liquid Rhythm. And I find that's a great companion sort of workflow, so I can pick a note that I'd want to play next, and all of a sudden I'm sequencing it our way. Draw the hi-hats. Start playing with the accent modifiers a bit. Got the lemur running upstairs as well, so I can do like some basic stuff associated with, you know, accent modifiers. And then probably just keep moving here. Make a new track. In Ableton. Maybe I'll start nerding around and finding an instrument to play there. Just grab my analog synth. Scale mode. Now I've got the chord capture over here, and that's something I can just basically turn on. Oh, I have to run that. Do that quick. Boom, boom. Jump and. This is a hack called native control, and it lets me take any inputted chord and basically trigger it. And in push, I can just dial in another sort of record that. Quantize that. Another track here. Maybe I'll throw in the bass again. Just gonna keep it simple. I'm just using analogs because I can dial them in really quick. Drop these guys another octave. Make a new drum rack on this guy here. Pull in more of a acoustic sound. Another thing I've been doing is taking like a chord here that I've got. Let's just listen to this one thing by itself. That's the bass line, right? So I'll grab the chord. So inside Liquid Rhythm, I can take a look at that and see all the notes. I'm gonna sort of do this here, which would be constraining all the notes to the ones that are being played, so that then inside my push, I can select all the notes and resequence. Copy that. Select all again. And then I just keep going until it sounds better, because it's kind of crappy now, but it's a good start. And that's the Shine workflow.